For sure. All right, we are live. Third week in a row, hat trick. That is awesome. We do this every Saturday, 9 a.m. New York time and 6 a.m. California time. And Rajiv ji is our immigration lawyer. So Rajiv ji, what's new with the world of immigration? Anything new? Government
This
doing
week,
anything crazy?
no, this week was
Light.
slow. It wasn't anything major happening. Sometimes, you get things happening right on top of each other. But this last couple of weeks have been pretty slow. No
Hmm.
news, nothing big happening.
Hmm. Okay. And I'm guessing same stance on third lottery since people must be
Yeah,
asking that.
nothing really, nothing fixed yet. So we'll see how it
Mm,
goes.
okay, cool. All right. Well, we'll have to wait. I mean, we have 50 people right now.
So
Start
who the
sending
hell is
questions.
Dave Ramsey you were talking about?
Yeah. So Rajiv ji and I were talking before we went live about Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey is like a personal finance guy. Like he's like a very famous radio show. Like he has a radio show. He's still running, and he talks about like how to get out of debt. And he doesn't like that. So when you mention that you buy your car for cash and all, I was like, he probably is a Dave Ramsey fan or something.
No, I just there are two kinds of people. Those who say I want to be in as much debt as possible when I die
Yep.
because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would enjoyed a good life and who cares who I owe money.
Yeah.
And there are people like me who say I like peace of mind. Um, there was a time when the economy took a nosedive. I had nothing to worry about. Our office's space we bought, it's ours. We don't have to pay anybody. There was no reason. We've never laid off anybody in my entire 33 years of history.
Hmm. Hmm.
Never had to lay somebody off because of bad economy. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's because we are very frugal. We're very careful with where we spend our money. And
Yeah.
if something is worth it, you will see our equipment, our servers, everything is top notch. But when it comes to nonsense like, carpets that are worth $50,000, I don't do stuff like that. I
Yeah.
am
Yeah.
very firmly rooted in the Stoic philosophy.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
merit, not for shiny stuff.
So in personal finance world, there's like two people, like two polar opposite. One, like you mentioned, the debt. That's Robert Kiyosaki. Have you heard of him?
I
Rich Dad.
don't look, Yuri, every spare minute I have, I am either reading about technology or about science,
Okay.
biology, chemistry.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
read anything else. Or law, of
All
course.
right.
Law is something I love
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. All right. Cool. We are starting with others. I want to start an e-commerce company in USA. Will I have visa problems? Both are not related. What?
Hmm. Mr. Reddy, I'm not sure I understand your question. If you're saying, can I start an e-commerce company in the United States, sitting in India? Yeah, I think so. Why not?
Mm,
So, as far as immigration law is concerned, if you're not working from US soil, you have no immigration problem. You can work from anywhere. But I'm not sure why you would start an e-commerce company from US. I guess you could stock things here. A lot of our clients do that. They have
mhm,
warehouses. So could you rent a warehouse being a foreigner? Yeah, you could. What you would have to do is, again, in USA, every state has its own local laws. Like in India, we have Indian Companies Act, which is uniform all through the country. Here, you have 50 states and 50 different corporate laws.
mm,
But generally speaking, you should be able to incorporate. You should be able to have the corporation enter into lease transactions. And all of this can be done sitting in India if you have somebody reliable in USA to work with.
mm. Okay. Came to USA on F1 visa. After I got here, I applied for asylum while studying and already got my EAD. I have a couple of questions. Can I apply for OPT as I'm finishing up? I don't know where
Well,
the
first of
second
all,
question
I
is.
don't know anything about asylums. So, how does asylum interact with your F1? I do not know. You're going to have to check with your asylum lawyers. I did only one asylum case in my entire life as a favor to somebody, and that is in 1989. So,
Yeah. Okay. All right. I have cap approved H1B, which was approved through consular process, and I did not do visa stamping. Now 797B expired. Please suggest how can I use it now?
Well, you can certainly try. Um, USCIS, at least in their policy statements, not in writing anywhere, have taken the position that unless you receive change of status or a visa stamping, you haven't perfected your H1B. So, would they create a problem about letting you transfer it? At least in theory, they would. As a practical matter, our own office has done several cases like this. It should go through okay. And it's not something special about us. It's not that our office is doing some special magic. It's just that USCIS says something else and does something totally different. So
Hmm.
try
Hmm.
getting an extension.
I would love to know the answer as well. Is it difficult for you as a computer science masters to get H1B in 2028?
In 2028, Saeed, who has seen that far ahead in future? But I'll tell you something. I see some weirdness in the tech industry right now. What is happening is, and Yuri, correct me if I'm wrong, what is happening is that the emphasis is shifting more and more on automation, deep learning, machine learning, control systems. And your traditional apps are going out the window. Your traditional software is not that effective any longer. Like you don't really, for example, you don't do a lot of in-house upkeep of your software. You're actually going more and more on cloud. So things, the way the technology has changed, and AI has been the biggest revolution. Uh, there is a gap between the change and the fulfillment of the change. So
Hmm.
what I see is I have people who are applying for jobs, they can't get a job in technology. And then I have employers talking to me saying, man, I can't find people here. What do we do? Okay. Because the
Hmm.
skill set has shifted.
Hmm.
It's kind of like, when mainframes were going out of fashion. You're too young to remember that. Mainframes were going out of fashion. And in a couple of years, people forgot what COBOL was. COBOL was used a lot on mainframes. You
Hmm.
know, CICS, COBOL, DB2. DB2, of course, evolved. But the point is that there is a skewedness in the tech industry. By 2028, I think it should be settled down. Personally, I think that many things. I was talking to some technology managers this morning. They were both talking about how difficult it was to hire qualified people. Uh,
Hmm.
Basically, I think the demand and the supply go together, but right now they're a little skewed. I'm hoping by 2028 things will be a lot better.
Yeah.
Even India
Yeah.
has jumped into AI. India was way behind. Um, uh, what is it? Mahindra Tech started an AI,
Hmm.
like a chat GPT generative AI.
Hmm.
They are working with vernacular languages. So, in fact, I had posted on my LinkedIn page that if you speak, um, I think Dogri, and there were some exotic languages that there was no Punjabi, otherwise I would have volunteered.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so the point is, I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Um, okay. Can we mention self when traveling on self after H1B visa stamp? This question is mandatorily asked in DS-160 form.
I don't know self in reference to what.
Yeah. I
By
guess.
the way, you cannot enter USA without a job offer, the H1B job offer and job approval. So don't just come saying, oh,
Oh,
I'll look for a job. No, you can't do that. That's illegal.
I think that's probably what his. Can I mention yes to the question on any
Yeah, yeah.
employer?
Yes, the I-140 has been approved. That means your immigrant visa has been approved. Let me rephrase that. That's an application for an immigrant visa. It's not the terminal application, it's not the green card itself, but it is an immigrant visa application. So, yes, the answer is yes.
Mm. I know we touched upon this last time. Did you find out?
I have never had anybody reach out to me. So, I have
Hmm.
no idea what you guys are talking about. We talked
There,
about it.
there were like about 21 students who got deported. They plan on coming on F1, and I think they got detained, and then they were just told to go back.
Well, were they going to? I mean, I really, if any of those students or people who know the details come talk to us, I can try to parse out what's going on.
Yeah, yeah,
I've never heard about the details of this case.
yeah. How difficult to
No,
transfer H1?
not difficult. Going from H1B to H1B cap exempt, but H1B cap exempt to H1B, you still need to go through the lottery. So if you go from H1B cap exempt to H1B cap, you have to go through lottery unless you do two jobs simultaneously. So if you're working on H1B that is cap exempt, as long as you keep working on that job, you can change the hours. You can also do a second job, which is cap. So that's the weirdness in the system.
Hmm.
So normally you would not be able to get a cap job without going through the lottery. But if you are working with a cap exempt employer, you can concurrently work with a cap employer. But that doesn't mean you still don't have to go through the lottery. If you wanted to quit your cap exempt job, you would have to go through the lottery.
Hmm. Hmm. I start a single owner LLC on F1 visa, which could stop my 90 days clock, considering it's very tough right now with the job market. Hmm.
Well, so the question is, can I first year of OPT, because second and third year of OPT that may not be
Yeah.
enough. It's much more
Yeah.
complicated. But I have been giving this example time and time again. Somebody I know in New York was a graphics designer. She couldn't find a job, but she had plenty of projects. So she asked me, "Can I be a contractor?" And the answer is sure. As long as you can document two things. One, you are working in graphics design, and two, you are working at least 20 hours each week, paid or unpaid. If you can document that, and she could easily do that because of her invoices. And not only did she do that for a few months, then went to India for a visit, came back, and even CBP had no issue with that.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah,
Um, so, do you know if people can start their own LLC?
they can, as long as they can prove the number of hours they are working is not less than 20, and
Hmm.
they can prove that they're working in their own field.
I
But
mean, I guess the contractor would be also same, like they are probably
yes,
operating as 1099.
yeah,
So,
they're doing a 1099, which is a so W2 is for people who are employed as employees. 1099 is for independent contractors. You can work on a 1099 on in first year of OPT.
hmm. Hmm. Okay. Which aerospace companies or startups would provide H1B visa to international students for full time?
ISRO.
uh, Chat
And ISRO,
GPT.
ISRO,
Yeah,
ISRO, is, ISRO is going great.
it is. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the funniest thing is the budget of Chandrayaan is less than Hollywood movies.
Yeah. 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 Um, File perm in March 2023 with uh, DOL. How much time does it take?
See, there are a couple of variables. First of all, normal time used to be 4 to 8 months, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think it's still the same once you file the perm. But what if you get audited? And what if they say do supervised recruitment? That can add time. So normal time, I would say 4, 5, 6, 8 months, something like that.
Hmm. My H1B approval was revoked in July 2023. Is it true that I'll be completely barred from entering US, or am I eligible for filing H1B again in
Barred,
2024 March?
completely barred, UD.
Barred.
Barred.
Sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
wearing glasses, otherwise I would be thinking what you're saying. So why was it revoked? It all depends upon the grounds of revocation. If the revocation was for some kind of fraud and you were involved in that, then you have a huge problem. But if you had if there was no fraud, etc., then you are okay. In fact, last week there was a lawsuit filed by some students in Seattle, in Washington State. I think it's Seattle, somewhere in Washington State under Ninth Circuit, where they said, "Hey, We did multiple filings. What's wrong with that? So H1B multiple filings. There's a lawsuit filed, and let's see how that plays out. That will give us some hint. But I don't know what your ground of revocation is. So tell me that, and maybe I can ask a question.
Hmm. My H1B petition is filed for second lottery. I'm on STEM OPT that expires December 2024. When I should inform my college, what is the impact of change of status now?
Well, you don't need to inform your college if you're doing a change of status. It automatically gets updated. The service system automatically gets updated. So you should file for a change of status. And you don't need to do anything to inform the university. It will automatically get informed.
Okay. Here we go. Is it allowed to have passive income while on H1B, like doing YouTube channel or Airbnb or renting a car?
I don't think any of these is a passive income under US immigration laws. Under tax laws, maybe some of these are. But if you rent your apartment partly for Airbnb, I think it's a violation of your status. If you rent your car, I think it's a violation of status. So passive income is when you put money into the Wall Street, for example. You buy stock, and not as a day trader, but as a long-term investment. So I think that's passive income. But that's my guess, because USCIS has never quite made it clear what they want us to do and not want us to do.
And I guess it depends on, I don't know. Does it depend on the number of hours you put in for
I
rent?
don't have any particular criteria. I'll give you an example of how I advise people. Many years ago, Microsoft bought out a small company started by 3 students. And this was the early 1990s. Okay. They called me. They said, well, the company is being bought out for $5 million. That's a lot of money during those days. And these guys were still in school. They had just written some software. And it was a vast improvement on some of I think it was the desktop search. It wasn't, web search. It was desktop search. So they had come up with some kind of an algorithm that worked very well. So they're getting 3 guys are getting $5 million still in school. In those days, 5 million, today 15 million. Okay. So they call me very concerned. Are we violating our status? I said, first of all, who gives a crap? You've got money coming in. Take it. Okay. That's first. Second, never lie about it. If you lie about it to the government, then you are creating a big problem. So I said, what will happen at the H1B stage where they say, have you ever violated your status? You say, yeah, I have. I created this company that got bought out. What can they do to you? They can say, go outside, get H1B visa stamp and come back. That's all they can do. So I'm not advising people to do that. Talk to a lawyer before you plan any of these things. But this happened. They had written the software for fun. It turned out to be a huge success. And these guys are worried. I said, if you're worried about the money, I could take care of that for you. There's nothing to worry. But like I said, don't break the law. But at the same time, also know what the consequences are.
My master's is in biomedical engineering. I took 3 subjects about industrial and manufacturing, and now working as a process engineer in consumer goods. Will that affect my H1B because I'm not in medical device industry?
Rishi, that's a very difficult question to answer. I have to look at your job description. I have to look at the courses you've taken. Normally, just taking a few courses does not qualify you in that subject for H1B purposes. Okay, for example, let's say I took a degree in zoology. Okay, you are a biomedical guy. So let's say my bachelor's degree in zoology, but I like technology. So I took 14 credits in technology as a part of my degree. Can I qualify for a job in technology? No, unless I can show that the university that I studied considers this to be a minor in engineering,
technology,
or technology, or biomedical engineering, something like that. So unless it is a formal minor, You're not going to be able to get a job based upon coursework alone. There is a provision for it, but that provision is supposed to be on the judgment of the USCIS. You can never trust that. So
Hmm.
therefore, be careful, have this reviewed very carefully. You might be able to combine some of your experience with your degree, but just taking a few courses does not qualify you. You have to have a major or a minor in that.
Okay. That is interesting. Okay. So if someone, just to expand on that, if someone took masters in information systems and they're learning about how to manage the information through different systems, ERP, all of that, database management, and then there is also a core course which is project management. Can they now become a project manager, technical project manager?
Well, you see, project managers come in three different flavors.
Yeah.
Two of these flavors belong in technology. Okay.
Okay.
One flavor is a project manager who's a technical person, but they are responsible for the project, one project, maybe supervising two people or
Yeah.
three. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just a senior level software developer.
Hmm.
You can call them a project manager, but it's a senior level developer. Second flavor is when you're managing multiple projects. You're involved in hiring and firing. You are involved in, let's say, doing evaluations. So now you are a systems manager. A systems manager is people as well as technology manager. A project manager is basically just a technology manager.
Hmm.
So those are the two flavors. Now, for both these flavors, to varying degrees, a degree in technology is required. The example that you gave, the
Hmm.
person qualifies not because their major is project management. It's because their minor is information systems. That's why they
Hmm.
qualify for these two jobs. Project management is not a specialization. It will not get you an H-1B. So if you
Hmm.
have a master's degree in project management, I don't think I can get you an H-1B. But if you have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and you are managing mechanical engineering projects, I can get you that H-1B. I think we have a good shot.
Yeah. What about the reverse, where you have the masters in information systems and then you have one of the course as a project management?
It
Does it
doesn't
matter?
matter to me. See what
Up.
courses you took.
Okay.
I look at the major or the minor. That's what I'm
Okay.
looking. So it's a
Okay.
zero sum proposition. Either you have that concentration or you don't have that concentration.
Okay. Okay. So, but what from your explanation, it sounds like if I did masters in technology or information system or something, project managers can justify that they
Yeah,
are. Okay. Okay.
it's being justified because you are managing technology. But if you started managing supply chain, would you qualify?
Hmm.
Probably not, unless we can show that the entire supply chain is based upon SAP and you are, managing the SAP systems and
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
SAP farm, something like that. So
Right. Got it. Okay.
yeah,
All right. Cool. I'm currently on H-1B visa and employed by company A. Can a company B file green card for me, even if I'm not employed by company B?
yeah,
Does company B have to transfer H-1B for me to themselves first?
not at all. This happens all the time. The only thing is make sure you don't pay for anything, because if you pay for any part of your green card, that could become a problem.
Hmm. Okay. Swati is back. When we will get to see H-1B stamping within USA? I heard. Oh, yeah, in 2024. Do we have any latest information on it?
Now, it was supposed to be by the end of this year. Okay. Um, and it used to be called visa revalidation in the old days. I don't know what they are going to call it now. But so far, there is no other update. The last time I heard about it was a couple of months ago when the Department of State came to the American Immigration Lawyers Association conference, annual conference. They said, well, we are
Hmm.
implementing it. And, that
Hmm.
ing, I don't know what that means, implementing. I like to get implemented. So,
Yeah. And Modi took all the credit, though.
well, Modi had nothing to do with it. I mean, this is so silly. I see, even yesterday, I was looking at it makes me gnash my teeth. Somebody said, well, Biden went to India with 200,000 visas. No, he did not. There is no such
Hmm.
thing. He can't do that. It's not up to him. There is a
Yeah.
limit to what executive can do. If it is within the powers of the president, powers of the executive, within the body of existing laws, they can do some stuff. For example,
Yeah.
they created entrepreneurial parole, which was not really in the statutes, but it's a creature of the regulations. Very
Mm,
poor program, very poorly implemented program, but
yeah.
it's there
There
in the
was
law.
another news thrown by media that because of Modi's visit or like relationship, like now they cleared the backlog, Indian consulate's backlog for immigration.
Yeah, so
Uh,
full of it. Look, I like Modi. I think he's an honest man. And I have my own background is in RSS, although I quit RSS because I thought their viewpoint was too narrow. But I admire their dedication. Okay. I don't know anything about their personal lives, and I mean I know something about their personal lives because he was a pracharak. Pracharak in RSS is somebody who's dedicated their entire life to RSS. Okay, Sangh.
mm,
Uh, so I like a lot of things about him, but this is nonsense. He didn't do it. They talk about, oh, he landed the Chandrayaan. Modi, Modi, Modi is an illiterate person. He is not an engineer.
yeah.
But having a person support your effort,
Who leads the, yeah.
that does matter a lot because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it creates a
Yeah.
sense of vitality in
Yeah.
the effort. But ultimately,
Yeah.
who is to be thanked? It is the people at ISRO.
Yeah.
It's Modi
Yeah.
ji directly. So
Yeah.
please, for heaven's sake, don't buy. I got day before yesterday. There's a young lady who's connected with me on LinkedIn. She was very anxious to get an answer to something, and we do conference calls every Thursday with all the community. And she put a question there that I saw this on these YouTube videos. All green cards have been opened. Two senators wrote to USCIS, and now all green cards are available. I said, you know what? Where do you get this garbage? This is clickbait. People are making fools of you. Please grow up. Is it
Mm.
possible in a civilized system for two senators to do this?
Mm. Yeah, and it's the same thing. It says that they cleared the whole immigration backlog in the Indian consulate, but they don't. And then they are like, "Oh, so that means F1 visa," but that's not one immigrant visa.
Look, this is what happened during the COVID time. The consulates went into severely understaffed mode,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so they started developing a huge backlog. So when COVID came and went, hopefully it's gone, or at least the most severe form of it's gone. Now they are dealing with all that backlog, and Modi ji has nothing to do with U.S.
Hmm.
consulate. He is Prime Minister of India, not the President of USA. The last time I checked,
Yeah,
so therefore he has no say in that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, I got picked up on second lottery, and let me know the timelines to file H1B. Any suggestions are appreciated. Hmm.
Isn't that 90 days within the date of notice? So that's kind of your deadline. Rajesh, your lawyer should be taking care of that. And
Hmm.
they should already be on the case. I mean, I think it could be getting late for you to file. So just make sure that somebody is watching over it and taking care of it.
Yeah. What is H1B cap? I guess we can do this like one
Yes,
line,
we'll
one
just
minute, 2 minute.
online.
Yeah.
There's a limited number of H1Bs, okay, and that's why it's called a cap. You don't have unlimited number of H1Bs. The limit on H1B visas annually is called cap.
Hmm. And then what? I guess can you expand on what is cap exempt?
Well, that's a big discussion. So cap exempt are certain kinds of jobs, not employers, certain kind of jobs that are cap exempt. There are four categories: non-profit research organizations, government, federal as well as state research organizations, third, institutions of higher learning, fourth, institutions affiliated with institutions of higher learning.
Hmm. Hmm. And so that means that if they fit under these criteria, then they are exempt from this H1B cap.
Yeah, they don't have to
Um,
worry about the cap. They can apply for H1B any time of the year.
mm, nice. Okay. I applied for B1 B2 change of status after my grace period ended after the layoff. Now the B1 B2 is still under processing. If I don't find a job even during B1 B2 period, can I apply for it again?
Yeah, Abbas, go to my blog, Go to immigration.com. That's our website. Immigration.com, on the top ribbon, there is Rajiv's blog. And about the second or the third entry is how to apply for a B1, B2. I have explained to you that you must apply for another B1, B2 extension if the period that you have asked for during the first application is coming to expire and you still haven't received a decision. So let's say you asked for 6 months. And in the 5th month, you still don't have a decision from the US yet. File another B1, B2 while the first one is still pending. File an extension.
Does it look like green card backlog issues getting fixed, or is it going to drag along?
This is going to drag along, and there is a fundamental problem in the US political system. Because of the divide amongst the Republicans, so understand something, the psychology of the US politics. Democrats are typically friends of immigrants and friends of local labor. We support local workers. Okay. Republicans are enemies of immigration, but friends of big business. Okay. So these are the 4 variables: big business, labor, immigrants, enemies of immigrants. But when it comes to employment-based immigration, things get very weird. Democrats want to protect the local labor, so they become anti-immigrant. Okay. Republicans want to protect big business. They may or may not become anti-immigrant. Now it is different ever since Trump. Anything that has gone wrong in the United States since the 3 Mile disaster or whatever that nuclear disaster is, everything is immigration's fault. Okay. So the biggest problem is this schism, this division in the psyche of the Republicans and the Democrats. Number 2, they hate each other. I can't stand Republicans. It'll be very, very difficult for me to be friends with a Republican. Both my brothers vote Republican. Okay. We never talk politics because we have a fundamental disagreement. There is, of course, people like, what was that guy's name? The senator who was arrested who was a prisoner of war from Arizona. I forgot his name. So that was one time I would have voted Republican because I liked him so much. Most of us are very anti each other. We can't see eye to eye. So it's very difficult. Without a compromise, laws cannot be passed. And without laws being passed, the backlog cannot be taken care of.
Yeah.
So how do we pass laws in this hyper-partisan, unreasonable, almost unpatriotic environment? Because I don't care about USA. I care about my own viewpoint. If somebody came and told me, Rajiv, vote Republicans, good for USA, I would do it in a heartbeat if I thought it was good for the United States and somebody convinced me. But the problem is we are way past that. So who is stuck in all this nonsense are the people who had the misfortune of being born in India, more so, Mexico, Philippines, China. Some of these not that bad. But even rest of the world gets affected. So, and the biggest problem is this. If you look at the logistics, we are about 43% H-1B. India gets 43% of the worldwide H-1B. And we get 7.5% of the green card quota of the world. Yeah. So there's always going to be a backlog.
Yeah.
Now, I think at some point there might be, we've seen some of it, reverse brain drain. People are going back to India because the job situation is not so bad, or at least today it is, but tomorrow it will not be. Things are happening there as well. And then things tend to balance out. See, my biggest problem, I have no issue with Republicans on immigration other than the fact you have never studied immigration. Okay? And I have the same problem with Democrats. So what I would like to know is, I've never received an answer. Are H-1Bs good for USA or bad for USA? If they said it's bad for USA, look, we've made enough money in our lives. There are plenty of ways to make a living. If somebody said, what you're doing is damaging to the country that you call home, I would stop doing it. Nobody has ever studied this issue. Is it good for us? Are we helping the country? Are we helping the economy? If I see reports coming from, for example, Cato which is more of a democratic leaning think tank, they might give me one idea. If I go
Yeah.
to these extreme immigration haters, everything about immigration is bad.
Mm. Mm.
So,
Yeah.
therefore, bottom line, guys, I don't think there's going to be a solution in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm on OPT. I'll be traveling to India in February 2024 and will be returning back in March end. Will there be problem with immigration while returning? Because while returning back from India, can immigration check our Zelle and bank accounts?
They
What?
can check they can check anything. They can ask you to unlock your phone, okay,
Yeah.
and you can't refuse, because if you refuse, there was an immigration lawyer recently. There was a lawsuit filed by an immigration lawyer where at the border, when coming back in, Customs and Border Protection made him unlock his phone, and he sued, and the court said no, it's okay. They can ask.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. But Bala, I still don't know what your question was. If the
He
question was,
probably has
will they?
worked without authorization, so he's got money coming in. Oh yeah,
Ah,
definitely. You could have a problem, sure.
yeah. Okay. All right. I am Indian running a company in USA. Now my daughter is completing her master's in December. Can I offer H1B after her OPT without what all registrations my company need to hire her in California, USA?
Well, you need a project, a specific project which is in line with her specialty. Okay, that's what you need. But just because your dad doesn't mean you can't hire on H1B. You can't do her green card, but you can definitely do her H1B. And you need
Mm,
a project. You need to be able to demonstrate that you have a project for her.
okay. Cool. I do have some projects lined up, which I found through Indeed Unpaid, but I was also wondering that through single owner LLC, could I take up projects from Upwork? Hopefully, I can get jobs soon.
It's the same problem. We also hire people from Upwork. We've had no issues. But Upwork payment is reflected in the 1099 that they'll issue you. It's in any case. I mean, it's. I think it's illegal. It's violation.
Oh, sorry. I think he's the repeat one for the issue where
I
he
know who
wanted
he
to
is.
start.
I know who he is.
Okay,
He's talking about the LLC. I know who he is.
okay.
My short-term memory is still intact.
Eh, but when you say illegal for first year OPT, wouldn't it be fine?
Well, see, okay, let's take a step back. If you are doing what we talked about in your own field, if you're doing this
Hmm.
in your own field, where it comes from, whether it's Upwork or something, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Once you get into the second and third year of OPT, it becomes a problem. Also, if you're still in school, it's a problem.
Hmm.
So, first year of OPT, as long as you can work in your own field 20 hours, I have said that already. It doesn't matter whether you're doing it on a W-2 or a 1099.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. I'm on STEM OPT and H1B approved. Do I need visa stamping?
if you got a change of status and you have 797A, which is I-94, you can continue staying here working. You don't need a visa stamp unless you want to travel abroad.
Hmm.
To return, you will need a visa stamp.
Okay. I have my IELTS expires on
That's,
June 2024.
that's Canada, right? IELTS.
Some US universities also accepts. Uh, I'm going to I'm coming to United States September 2024. Do you think it will affect during immigration in USA? Do I have to retake?
There is no requirement of this exam in the United States immigration. Not that I know
Yeah.
of. Never heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. My son is pursuing his day one CPT while maintaining a full time job. His F1 expired. How to renew a F1 visa without leaving USA?
You cannot.
Wait, you cannot renew it or
Not without leaving USA. You can't
okay.
renew your visa within USA.
Okay. So,
Unless
but
it's,
you can file
yeah,
for
you
an
can go
extension.
outside and take your chances. I think you're not coming back if you do.
Hmm.
It's very unlikely. I mean, it could happen if you are in a very good university and you have a steady progression in your career. Maybe you can convince the consulates, but consulates are suspicious of people who are spending a lot of time in USA on day one CPT type situations. So
Hmm. 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 Okay. I'm on STEM OPT and I'm a full time software developer. I'm traveling to India in October. I will have about 7 months of F1 STEM OPT left when I come back. Will there be issue?
no, Hima, just make sure that you get your I-20 endorsed for travel, and make sure that you carry pay stubs and proof that you have a job that you're coming back to that you have been doing.
Yep. I have H1B, but can I work through L1A visa at the same time when my H1B status is active?
No, you cannot paint yourself black and white at the same time. You gotta choose one.
I love your analogy. Cool. One of my friend went to USA through consultancy. Waited 55 days for a project. Didn't get project. Not received pay stuff. He left USA again now and again planning to re-enter in January or Feb. He has valid H1B. So what is the
No, Samir, tell him to transfer his H1B to another employer. Okay, for him to come back in these circumstances, he could be in big trouble. Okay, because if
Mm,
Customs and Border Protection finds out that he's coming back, he didn't work on any project, he's coming back again, they could cancel his H1B and bar him from entering USA at least for 5 years. So be careful.
mm,
Just transfer the H1B. It's not worth it.
mm. I'm Saudi Arabian, born Indian on F1 visa. My master's will be completed in May
First of all,
2024.
dude, why? I mean, the other way around would have been okay. But born in India, oh, okay, all right. So my master's will be completed in May 2024. What is the fastest? You are India born. You're stuck with the rest of India.
Yeah. Mm,
Also, I'm doing a master's in IT project management.
yeah.
Uh,
Because I think this was his previous question because getting green card through H1B will take long time. So I'm planning on L1 visa.
then you're asking me the wrong question, Nandaji. So here's what you do. You can enter the United States on an H1B, but if you qualify for an international manager executive category, you don't have to be on L1 to apply for a green card through that category. So while you're on H1B, you can apply for EB1C, which is the green card through L1 category. So no problem at all. So you don't need to be working on L1 to get a green card through L1 category. You can be on
Mm,
H1B and still get your green card.
okay.
Oh, blood seeker, who's that?
I'll be in USA, F1 University at University of Illinois. Looking forward for better opportunities, but have a small doubt. Will my Indian work experience help me get an internship?
Well, this is a more a practical question from UD side. Personally,
Yeah,
technology is technology, no matter where you do it.
yeah,
I mean, India, as far as technology is concerned, in some ways, India is ahead of USA. It isn't like you guys are behind. AI is another matter. India is
yeah,
struggling in the AI area, but otherwise, any experience that you have, common sense would say, sure, if you can
yeah. It
demonstrate
will.
experiences. I mean, I remember interviewing somebody for a database job in our firm. Okay, so I asked him. This guy said he had a resume, very impressive looking resume. I mean, he did have a lot of high end technology, but we are a small firm. You know, we needed somebody who could put together.
Maintain that. Yeah,
You know, it wasn't a complicated task, but it still required some experience. The guy couldn't answer simple questions about databases. I asked him, uh, what are parameterized queries? Okay, it's not difficult. Anybody who works in databases knows what they are.
yeah, yeah,
And he said, well, you know, I can do queries. I don't know. Okay, I said, then I asked him something about stored procedures. And he screwed that one completely. And I was thinking to myself, my God, his experience looks so grandiose. You look at his, either that experience is all made up, or
yeah.
He has probably forgotten all that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if your experience is genuine and you know what parameterized queries are, you'll be okay.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah. In short, yeah, your experience will help, but
Yeah,
you should know what you did
exactly.
in your experience.
Exactly. It is not that you have it on the resume. It is that you can actually talk about it and you
Yeah.
know about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Sohail said, I'm an Indian born in I'm Indian but born in Saudi Arabia.
That's
Okay.
a big difference, Sohail. So, yeah, you could actually do a green card directly. So what you do is Google my name, Rajiv, or Google or whatever, Bing or whatever you want to use. Rajiv S. Khanna, Economic Times. You'll come to my page on Economic Times. I have an article written on it directly to apply, how to apply for green card from student visa. So it is possible, okay?
Hmm.
Because if you were India born, I would have said, well, bro, get used to it.
He's Indian but
Yeah,
born in Saudi Arabia. Nice. Okay.
that was good.
All right. Is it a requirement that if I pursue masters in AI in the USA, I must work exclusively in AI related jobs during my OPT?
Well, see, that's something your DSO can tell you because I'm not sure there is a master's. Is there a master's in AI alone? I think it's a little bit
Now there
more.
is. Now
There
there
is.
is. Yeah.
Um, but AI has so many components. It has decision science, it has data science, it has statistics. There are so many areas. You have programming, you have uh, data piping, you have all sorts of things. So I
Yeah.
don't know if I can answer that question without knowing the nature of the job. It has to be connected to your major. It can't be far removed. In other words, you can't say, well, I have a degree in AI and I'm going to work in, I don't know, as a doctor. You
Mm.
can't do that. That's totally removed from your field.
Unless you are working for a healthcare who uses
Oh,
AI.
healthcare AI, yeah, because that's big too.
Yeah.
In fact, I have to tell you this. My brothers are both doctors, right? So we were having this discussion about AI, and they said, should we start looking for jobs? I said, you know, this is not happening in our lifetime. Why? Because can you imagine a patient just typing a few things and say, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm fine. The AI says. You want to talk to somebody. So, and
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
but please remember, AI is a tool, a very powerful tool. Don't ignore it. It can really help you because
Mm.
AI can remember 11 million cases and you can remember 11.
Yeah.
So it can help your diagnosis. So please, please, please learn to use your healthcare AI. It's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. 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 My O1 and EB1B were both rejected due to premium processing payment issue. For refiling both, can I apply in regular processing first and then apply for premium processing?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. You can, Robin.
Okay.
Absolutely. And don't screw it up this time. But actually, you know what? There are so many moving parts in immigration. Even us professionals, we can screw up. It can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Is it possible for me to leave the CPT program after my H1B is approved, but before visa stamping? Considering I'm currently on day one CPT and my visa is
Yeah,
selected in second round.
absolutely, Shakya. The only requirement is that you're maintaining status all the way to the kickoff of your H1B. So you
Mm,
can't just sit at home for 2 semesters and not worry about things, waiting for your
mm,
H1B. As long as you are maintaining status till you actually get your change of status, you are very safe.
mm, mm. Bala says is the same. Uh, what's that?
That's a return customer, I said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's probably clarifying. During my master's, I did receive some amount from my family member in the US, about 4,000 via Zelle, while returning back from India. If immigration checks, will it be a problem?
Just take a letter from your relative that they have loaned you the money or um,
Gifted you.
yeah, gifted you the money. See, the loan, there is an issue. I didn't actually even know about this. There's an issue that you must pay a certain minimum amount, like 1% interest.
Mm,
Otherwise, IRS does not consider it to be a loan. So just make sure that talk to your chartered accountant, your CPA, and find out what they say. But have an explanation for it. As long as you're not working illegally, I don't see.
mm,
You can explain it. Why worry about it?
mm. Okay. Um, coo- Thank you. I just traveled back from India on my existing OPT, my H1B, which is approved and starts from 1st October. Is there any issues in my H1B violation?
Validation. What's wrong with you?
Sorry. It's 6 a.m. Sorry, that's why. Yes, that's right.
I
I
know. It's
need
just
more coffee. More coffee.
coffee and
Uh,
glasses, man.
yeah.
Okay, let me just answer that previous question. I think that's important. So, if your H1B is kicking off from, let's say, October 17th, and I'm just guessing, I haven't worked out the details, but you return on F1 before October 17th, I think you are fine because October 17th is when you go from F1 to H1. Before that, you're on F1. So, for you, F1 to
Hmm.
come and go is okay as long as your H1B is already approved. Okay. So I think, but double check with there are variations here. Double check with your lawyers. I don't see any issue.
Hmm. And so if he's coming after October, then he needs H1B stamp.
Exactly. Then he needs an H1B stamp. By
Hmm.
the way, man, I have developed a lot of respect for coders, code guru, because it's no not less than rocket science. There is a coding has such a level of detail and so
Hmm.
many ways to solve a problem.
Yeah.
See, I always knew how to code a little bit, and but ever since I got more involved with it, I'm beginning to see how much intelligence there is behind the code that we write. And you
Yeah.
also need to know the language. You need to know I'm writing for Windows, I'm writing for Mac, I'm writing for cloud. Um, uh, you know, uh, it's amazing. So you guys do a
Yeah.
good job.
And I think the one of the things I'm realizing more and more as I'm taking more product manager, because I was like, this is my requirement. I don't care how you do it. But then now they come back. It's like, all right, we can do it this way, but it's not going to be performant. Like it's going to take 5 seconds or 5 milliseconds to hit this API. Versus, I was like, oh, I never thought about that. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah, so they have to make it even more performant. Code.
absolutely. Not only that, you have to worry about security, especially when you are going out on the cloud. You have to
Mm,
worry about latency. How quickly am I getting my return?
yeah.
Um, then you have to think about what if I'm sitting in, I don't know, Bhutan and working? Would it work? Because
Yeah.
there's considerable latency built
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would my
Yeah.
Lambda functions time out by the
Mm,
time I call
mm,
on the um, AWS
mm,
cloud? So
yeah.
there are all these things. It's I have developed a lot of respect. I thought law was complicated, but coding.
Yeah. Yeah. Sakya, you didn't have to do this, but thank you. All right. Planning to do my master's in data science in August 2024, thinking to earn some money before I return. Before I return. So I'm worried about job and visa processing. Give me some guidance. Wait,
See,
before
Sanjit
I
ji,
return.
I've talked about data science as being a very sensitive area. Government has not really recognized it as specialty occupation. So I've told you before. If you listen to some of UD's recordings before, we talked about how data science could be a software developer because you are creating automated data pipelines, or it could be a job for a mathematician if you're doing a lot of modeling, or a job for statistician if you're doing a lot of data parsing, or it could be a job in decision sciences if you're doing some kind of an AI. So it's really so many different types, or it could be the job of a systems analyst if you're doing mostly development of use cases and user stories. So then it's more like a systems analyst job. We have to be, whoever the lawyer is, they have to understand that this is a delicate area. It has to be handled right. But I don't see any problem with it. It should be managed.
Mm, mm. All right, we'll do this one last question. I work in private non-profit university as an advisor on my OPT. If they file H1B, is it true that being working in a non-profit organization, I don't have to go through lottery?
Ashi, we talked about that. Listen to the recording. So while you are working for that organization, there's no problem. But if you want to move over to a for profit, you have to go through the lottery. You can have a
Mm.
current job without going through the lottery. But if you want to completely move over, quit your university job, you have to go through the lottery again.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
I just
But
told
if
you.
she,
What do you mean interesting? You get
oh,
your
I
next
did.
time, Yudi, I want you to have 2 cups of coffee. Have, have both of
Yes.
them ready to be drunk. My
No, I mean, I think you said it, but I didn't realize that you have that they for transferring they have to go through the lottery.
you forgot. Okay. Or you
I
didn't pay
forgot. I
attention.
forgot. Yeah. All right. I'm seeing if there's any burning question. All right. One last one. Okay. My wife is applying for physician residency program, not a resident yet, and living on US on H2. She already has completed SMILE step 3. Can
USM.
she
USM.
right? Can she self petition for green card?
No. USMLE 3 helps you get an H1B because
USMLE.
if you have just cleared 1 and 2, you can't get a clinical job without USMLE 3. So you cleared you. This is a totally different field for you, Yudi. So
I have no
physicians
idea.
have very different rules. We do
Okay.
a lot of physician cases. They have very different set of rules. So, but USMLE 3 only gets you an H1B. It doesn't get you an automatic green card. No.
Mm. All right, someone is angry. I skipped their question. I've bifurcated my name in my passport after giving IELTS test. Will it be a problem in my visa interview?
Look, this is the way I look at it, Abhishek ji. As long as you can prove that you are the person who's mentioned in all the entire paperwork, what is the problem? Okay.
Yeah.
So, as long as you can prove, how do you prove it? Through official documentation, figure out what exactly you need. But this kind of things happen a lot. This is,
Mm,
I think, on an average, 1 or 2% of cases every day before the consulate involves some kind of a name discrepancy.
mm, mm. One more burning question because he's spamming. So, uh, my F1 visa was denied a couple of times in 2010. Later, I pursued PhD in India and postdocs in Europe. If I get a job on H1B, will F1 visa refusals affect my chances?
Not at all. As long as the refusal was not on fraud or misrepresentation ground. If the refusal was just 214B, hey man, we don't know if you're going to come back if we send you to US, that is no issue for an H1B. You'll be fine.
Mm, mm. Okay, I know there's a lot more questions, but that is it. Thank you so much. Come back next week.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
we'll be here.
we did an hour today, which is okay with
Yeah,
me because I have to
yeah.
start a meeting in 25 minutes. So we have time.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I want to respect that hour. So, and my dog is, I know he's warning me to take him out. So he's right there waiting for me. But thank you, Rajiv ji. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next session.
Are you staying
Yep,
fit, Woody?
I am. Yes, I am. Although I ate vada pav, my wife, like she loves Indian cuisine. I mean, because I took her for like 6 weeks, so she's fall in love with all the Indian street foods and all of that. So now she's like, I want to make that, and so she's on a mission to make all the Indian cuisine. And so I was like, you have to be tester. I was like, I don't mind. Keep making it.
So, so we have Gujaratis and Maharashtrians in our family, and
Yeah.
most of my family is from Mumbai. So, if she needs any recipes on the Gujarati side, if your mom and parents, etc., are not available, tell me. I'll connect her to my sisters, my cousins.
I will do that. She will be happy. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk soon. Bye.
All right.
Yep.
Bye, Yudi.
Bye. All right.